Hey y'all! Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to be back with you, exploring new places and dreaming up all the fun adventures we can have. Today we're trading in shiplap and farmhouse sinks for something a little different, but just as charming. We're heading to the Lone Star State, a place close to my heart, to uncover some of Texas's best-kept secrets, its small towns. These charming little towns are bursting with character, history, and that good old Southern hospitality. We're talking about the kind of places where you can slow down, savor life's simple pleasures, and maybe even discover a new favorite getaway. So grab yourself a glass of sweet tea, get comfy, and get ready to fall in love with the heart and soul of Texas. Let's hit the road. Next, we're heading west to a town that's about as different from Jefferson as you can get. Marfa is a small desert town with a whole lot of personality. It's known for its minimalist art, wide open spaces, and a mysterious phenomenon known as the Marfa Lights. Now, I love a good mystery, and the Marfa Lights are definitely intriguing. People have reported seeing strange lights dancing on the horizon for over a century, and no one's quite sure what causes them. Some say it's atmospheric conditions, others say it's something more extraterrestrial. Whatever the explanation, it's a sight you won't soon forget. But Marfa is more than just mysterious lights. It's also a haven for art lovers. The Chinati Foundation is a must-see, with its large-scale minimalist installations set against the stunning desert backdrop. It's truly a unique and thought-provoking experience. You can wander through the grounds, taking in the art and letting your imagination run wild. And if you're lucky enough to be in town during the Trans-Pecos Festival of Music Plus Love, you're in for a real treat. This annual event brings together musicians, artists, and creatives from all over for a weekend of music, art, and community. Marfa is a town that will surprise you. It's a place where art, mystery, and the vastness of the desert all come together to create something truly special. Y'all ready for a little trip back in time? Gruene, Texas is just the place. It's nestled right along the Guadalupe River, and it's like stepping into a postcard from the past. The whole town is a historic district, so you'll see buildings that have stood for over 100 years, all with those charming little details that make you want to stop and imagine the stories they could tell. Speaking of stories, Gruene Hall is a must-see. It's the oldest dance hall in Texas, and when you step inside, you can just feel the music and laughter from all those years swirling around you. George Strait, Willie Nelson, you name it, they've probably graced that stage. It's seen it all. And if you need a little break from the music and history, the Guadalupe River is calling. Grab an inner tube and just float the day away, soaking up the sun and the scenery. It's the perfect way to unwind and just enjoy the simple things. Afterward, stroll down Gruene's main street. It's full of cute shops and restaurants with front porches perfect for people watching. You'll find all sorts of treasures, from handmade jewelry to antiques. And trust me, the food is just as good as the shopping. Now let's talk about tubing down the Guadalupe River. It's practically a rite of passage when you're in Gruene. Picture yourself drifting along those cool, clear waters, surrounded by towering cypress trees and the sounds of nature. It's the kind of experience that stays with you long after you've dried off. And the best part? It's an activity the whole family can enjoy. The kids will love splashing around in the water, and you can relax and let the current carry you away. Just don't forget the sunscreen. After a day on the river, you'll have worked up an appetite. Luckily, Gruene is known for its delicious barbecue. Imagine sinking your teeth into some slow-smoked brisket or ribs, piled high with all the fixings. It's the perfect way to refuel after a day of fun in the sun. And don't forget to try some Texas-sized slices of pecan pie for dessert. It's a local favorite and the perfect sweet ending to a perfect day in Gruene. Now, let's head over to Goliad, Texas, a town with a heart as big as the Texas sky and a history that runs deep. Goliad is one of those places where you can really feel the spirit of Texas independence in the air. It's a place where every brick and every stone has a story to tell. And there's no better place to start your journey than Presidio La Bahia. This old Spanish fort has seen it all, and I mean everything. From Spanish rule to Mexican independence to the fight for Texas, it's witnessed some of the most important moments in Texas history. Walking through those old archways and imagining the battles that took place right where you're standing, well, it just gives you goosebumps. You can practically hear the echoes of the past whispering through the wind. And when you're ready for a change of pace, head over to Goliad State Park. It's a beautiful place to escape the hustle and bustle and reconnect with nature. You can wander through the trails, have a picnic by the river, or even try your hand at fishing. While you're in Goliad State Park, be sure to visit the Fannin Memorial Monument. It's a sobering reminder of the sacrifices made during the Texas Revolution. The monument honors Colonel James Fannin and his men who fought bravely for Texas independence. Standing there, looking out at the peaceful landscape, it's hard to believe that such a fierce battle took place on that very ground. It's a reminder that freedom isn't free, and it's something we should cherish every single day. Now, after a day of exploring Goliad's rich history, you're going to be ready for a hearty meal. And let me tell you, Goliad knows how to do comfort food right. Think juicy burgers piled high with all the toppings, crispy fried chicken, and homemade pies that'll make your heart sing. And if you're looking for something a little different, be sure to try the local Tex-Mex cuisine. The sizzling fajitas and cheesy enchiladas are guaranteed to hit the spot. And don't even get me started on the margaritas. Now let's raise a glass to Shiner, Texas, a town that's as refreshing as its famous beer. If you love a good brew, then Shiner is calling your name. This charming little town is home to the Spätzle Brewery, where they've been crafting Shiner beer for over a century. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like a cold Shiner on a warm Texas day. It's practically an institution in these parts. You can take a tour of the brewery, learn all about the beer-making process, and even sample some of their latest creations. But Shiner is more than just beer, y'all. It's a town with a big heart and a whole lot of charm. The people are friendly, the pace of life is slower, and there's always something going on, whether it's a local festival, a live music performance, or just a friendly gathering at the town square. And speaking of the town square, be sure to take a stroll down there and soak up the small town vibes. You'll find cute shops selling everything from antiques to handmade crafts, and the restaurants serve up some of the best down-home cooking you'll ever taste. Now, while you're in Shiner, be sure to visit the Edwin Walters Memorial Museum. It's housed in a beautifully preserved historic building and tells the story of Shiner's past, from its early German settlers to its booming cotton industry. You'll see old photographs, farming equipment, and artifacts that offer a glimpse into what life was like in Shiner back in the day. It's a fascinating look at how this little town has grown and changed over the years. And if you're lucky enough to be in Shiner during one of their many festivals, you're in for a real treat. The Shiner Chamber of Commerce hosts several events throughout the year, including the Shiner Half Marathon and 5K, the Shiner Spring Fest, and of course the granddaddy of them all, Oktoberfest. It's a celebration of Shiner's German heritage, with live music, dancing, traditional food and drink, and of course plenty of Shiner beer flowing. It's a fun-filled event for the whole family, and a great way to experience the true spirit of Shiner. We're headed to Alpine, Texas, a town nestled right in the heart of West Texas. Now, when you think of West Texas, you might picture wide-open spaces and rugged landscapes, and you wouldn't be wrong. But Alpine, well, it's got this special charm about it. It's a place where the desert seems to bloom. You see, Alpine sits at the doorstep of Big Bend National Park, one of the most stunning natural wonders in the whole country. It's a place where the mountains meet the desert, where the Rio Grande carves its way through canyons, and where the night sky is just blanketed with stars. But Alpine's beauty isn't just skin deep. This town has a soul, a vibrant energy that just draws you in. Maybe it's the friendly locals, always ready with a smile and a story. Or maybe it's the art scene, bursting with color and creativity. Whatever it is, Alpine is a town that stays with you. It's a place where you can escape the hustle and bustle, reconnect with nature, and discover a different pace of life. So come on, let's mosey on in and see what treasures we can find. Now, if you're looking for a taste of Alpine's artistic side, you gotta check out the Museum of the Big Bend. It's housed in this beautiful old building right on the Sul Ross State University campus, and it's full of fascinating exhibits about the history and culture of the region. But the art doesn't stop there. Every fall, Alpine hosts this amazing event called the Art Walk. Imagine strolling down the street, the air buzzing with excitement as you pop into galleries and studios, soaking up all the creativity. And speaking of creativity, you can't talk about Alpine without mentioning the music scene. There's just something about this town that inspires musicians. On any given night, you can find live music spilling out of the bars and cafes, filling the air with a mix of country, rock, and that good old Texas twang. Alpine, it's a town that nourishes your soul. It's a place where you can wander through art galleries, catch a live show, or just sit on a porch swing and watch the sun set over the desert. And trust me, those sunsets, they're something special. Next stop, we're heading north to the heart of the Texas Hill Country, to a little town called Llano. Now, Llano is one of those places that just feels like it's frozen in time, in the best way possible. Think charming historic buildings, friendly locals waving from their porches, and the sound of laughter echoing across the town square. It's the kind of place where you can slow down, take a deep breath, and just soak it all in. And speaking of soaking it in, you can't go to Llano without spending some time on the Llano River. This beautiful river winds its way through town, inviting you to cool off with a swim, cast a line for some fishing, or just float along and enjoy the scenery. Now, the hill country is known for its granite, and Llano is no exception. You'll see it everywhere, in the buildings, the bridges, even the riverbeds. And if you want to see something truly amazing, head just a short drive out of town to Enchanted Rock. Now, Enchanted Rock is more than just a rock. It's this massive pink granite dome that rises up from the earth, and it's steeped in history and legend. Native American tribes believed it held a special spiritual significance, and when you see it for yourself, well, you just might understand why. You can hike to the top of Enchanted Rock, and let me tell you, the views from up there are breathtaking. You can see for miles in every direction, and it's the perfect spot to watch the sunset over the hill country. But Llano's charm isn't just in its natural beauty. The town itself is full of history and character. Take a stroll around the town square, and you'll find antique shops, art galleries, and some of the friendliest folks you'll ever meet. And if you're a history buff, be sure to stop by the Llano County Historical Museum. It's housed in this beautiful old building that was once a schoolhouse, and it's full of fascinating artifacts and stories about the town's past. Llano, it's a place where you can step back in time and create some new memories of your own. Now, we're heading to the coast, to a little town that's near and dear to my heart. Fulton, Texas. Y'all, when I think of Fulton, I think of salty air, fresh seafood, and the sound of seagulls calling overhead. Fulton sits right on the Gulf Coast, where the land meets the sea, and it's got this laid-back vibe that just makes you want to kick off your shoes and stay a while. And speaking of the sea, You can't talk about Fulton without talking about oysters. This town is known for its delicious oysters, and for good reason. The waters here are perfect for growing oysters, and you can taste the freshness in every bite. Whether you like them raw, grilled, or fried, you're in for a real treat in Fulton. Now, while you're enjoying those oysters, take a stroll along the waterfront. The harbor is always bustling with activity, with shrimp boats coming and going and pelicans diving for their dinner. Now, Fulton's charm isn't just in its seafood. This town is also steeped in history, and one of the best places to experience that history is at the Fulton Mansion State Historic Site. This beautiful mansion was built back in the 1870s by George Fulton, one of the town's founders, and it's like taking a step back in time. You can tour the mansion and learn all about the Fulton family and what life was like on the Texas coast back in the day. And speaking of history, another must-see is the Texas Maritime Museum. This fascinating museum tells the story of Texas's maritime heritage, from shipwrecks and pirates to the oil and gas industry. It's a great place to learn something new and maybe even discover a hidden treasure or two. But honestly, one of my favorite things to do in Fulton is just to wander around the town and soak up the atmosphere. Fulton, it's a place where you can slow down, savor the simple pleasures, and create some memories that will last a lifetime. Y'all, Granbury is just the cutest town square I ever did see. It's one of those places where you step out of your car and feel like you've been transported back in time. The buildings are all historic and charming, with those big, beautiful windows that just beg you to peek inside. And the best part? There's so much to do. You can spend hours just wandering around, popping into antique shops, art galleries, and boutiques. I could spend a whole day in one of those antique stores, finding treasures with a story to tell. And when your feet need a rest, grab a rocking chair on one of those wide front porches and watch the world go by. Sip some sweet tea, maybe enjoy a slice of pie from a local bakery. It's the perfect way to spend a lazy afternoon. There's just something so peaceful and inviting about Granbury. It's the kind of place where you can slow down, take a deep breath, and just enjoy the simple things. Now, if you're looking for a little more action, head on over to Lake Granbury. It's a beautiful spot for boating, fishing, or just soaking up the sun. Imagine yourself on a pontoon boat, cruising along the sparkling water with a gentle breeze in your hair. The kids are laughing and splashing, and Chip's probably trying to teach Duke how to cast a fishing line. And in the evening, catch a show at the Granbury Opera House. This historic theater has been entertaining folks for over 100 years, and it's still going strong. From musicals to concerts to plays, there's always something good on stage. Get all dressed up, grab a fancy drink at the bar, and let the music sweep you away. It's a truly magical experience. Now, if you're looking for something truly unique, you have to visit Terlingua. This little ghost town is nestled in the heart of Big Bend country, surrounded by miles and miles of rugged desert scenery. You can feel the history here. Back in the early 1900s, Terlingua was a bustling mining town, full of life and hope. But when the mercury mines closed, the town went quiet, leaving behind a collection of abandoned buildings and stories whispered on the wind. Walking through the crumbling ruins of the old mining operation, you can't help but feel a sense of awe at the resilience of the human spirit. These were tough folks, living and working in such a harsh and unforgiving environment. But don't let the ghost town title fool you. Terlingua is far from deserted. These days, it's a haven for artists, musicians, and free spirits drawn to its stark beauty and laid-back vibe. Every year, Terlingua hosts the original Terlingua International Chili Championship, a legendary event that draws chili cooks and enthusiasts from all over the world. Can you imagine anything more fun than spending a weekend in the desert, tasting chili from hundreds of different cooks? There's music, dancing, and of course plenty of friendly competition. And when the sun sets, the real magic begins. With no city lights for miles around, the stars come out in full force, twinkling like diamonds scattered across a black velvet cloth. Spread out a blanket, lay back, and let the vastness of the universe wash over you. It's a humbling and awe-inspiring experience that will stay with you long after you leave Terlingua. And there you have it. From historical landmarks to mysterious phenomena and natural wonders, these small towns in Texas offer a wealth of experiences for any traveler. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more travel guides and fascinating stories. Let us know in the comments which town you're most excited to visit. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next adventure. Thank you for watching. Check out our other videos for more travel inspiration and tips.